Hello, everybody. This is the MyRaft redesign project presentation. Our team consists of 3 CS students and 2 CD students. I am Sasha Thomas.
Barajia Duo.
Daisy Perez.
I'm Andrew Temez.
I'm Malia Ivankula.
So our project statement, MyRaft is a social app that CSUMB students can use to connect with other CSUMB students with their other ID. Currently, MyRaft is limited in its capabilities and has a lot of bugs in its most popular features. Students have issues responding to posts, messaging one another, etc. And our aim is to improve the MyRaft user experience and facilitate better connections among students and with campus activities. By refining features and optimizing user pathways, we're creating a platform that fosters engagement and community interaction. Our objective is to implement progressive enhancement techniques to ensure a consistent user experience across different devices.
We originally planned to use Ionic to easily develop a web application alongside the mobile app. However, after reviewing the data from MyRaft, we found that the majority of users use the app. For this reason, we decided to only focus on the app and scrap the web portion. For CS, we first began by familiarizing ourselves with Firebase and designing and implementing a database. We then used the screens provided from CD students to create pages and implemented navigation.
For the CD side of things, we took a mobile-first approach based off the user analytics provided by our mentor, Dan. Then we did some comparative and competitive analysis. Then we did some journey mapping and some user journeys. And then to finish things off, after the prototype was done, we did some user testing with some corridor testing, user behavior, and some A/B testing for the logo iterations and UI iterations.
For tools, CS used the Ionic framework, which is Angular-based, so our project is TypeScript, CSS, and HTML. We used Visual Studio as our IDE and Google Firebase for both our database and user authentication, and GitHub to share the code within ourselves.
For CD, we use Figma for the user interface and the prototype. And then for the rest of the stuff, we use Adobe Creative Cloud. We use XD for the early wireframing. For vectors, we use Adobe Illustrator. And for photo manipulation and mockups, we used Adobe Photoshop.
What we learned using Ionic was a first for all the CS students. So that is something we came to learn across the semester, as well as the NoSQL database Firebase.
For everybody, we learned the designer to developer handoff and the need for constant communication between everybody. We had to work with assets that were getting provided and tossed around back to each other. Knowing stages of development and where to expect the next development to be was pretty important as well. We all did a great job managing scope creep and change requests from peers, mentors, and faculty.
So for the brand identity, we went through a couple different iterations through peer feedback and critique. And this is the final version that we came up with. We tried to find something that represented the brand a little bit better than what it previously was. And then here's some mock-ups of the screens that we created in Figma. So you can see a home screen, the profile, an event screen, and the group screens. And then on the left here, we have a view of what the icon would look like. And then on the right is just another layout of the screens.
So for the CS deliverable, we have this little demonstration video. We're going to go through as a CSUMB student. I'd go through with my email. Let's pretend this is my email and password using the Firebase authentication. And once we're logged in here, it shows all the users feed with all of the people that they're in touch with at the university. This is just going through some of the screens that we went through, basically copying what we got from the CD students. Students are able to make posts to the feed, and it'll show at the top of the feed once it goes through. They have their group screen where they can add groups to their to the user, and they have all the filters. These are just more of the pages that we go across, and we can also go to the user's profile, see their most recent posts, and it's a very low level implementation of all of the concepts and designs that we got from CD. It's not a complete final project, but it's just what we have so far.
And then I'll be showing you guys the Figma prototype. We'll kind of be showing you what the prototype looks like currently and what it should look like hypothetically. So we'll look here, right here. We'll go and sign in using our CSUMB credentials. So here's our feed page. So we can go ahead and scroll. We can filter through different post options. Let's go ahead and click on events. We can go and see some events on campus. We can also change it to a calendar view. Let's go ahead and check our resources. So these are resources that students will be able to access through deep linking. We can go ahead and click on some groups, check our DMs, and check our profile.
And so as far as future work goes, there's a few concepts that weren't integrated that we just maybe discussed later on in the semester. But something that was really important that we decided as a team was the QR code. Currently, the MyRaft app is used at every event to kind of check in with the QR code. And that's something that we don't have in our prototypes right now. So that's something that definitely would need to be implemented moving forward. Another idea that we had talked about was a parking heat map on campus so students could see which lots were more saturated than others to maybe negate like any type of like tardiness due to not being able to find a parking spot. Dining traffic as well, students being able to see what the lines, like estimated wait time would be at different dining halls on campus, just as a reference for time going in between classes. And finally, the last thing we talked about was kind of making MyRaft a more central app for CSUMB in general. So being able to tie things from Canvas, specifically like the user's schedule, their courses, maybe checking their grades, all of those things could be integrated into MyRaft to make it just like the central hub for the university. But that's something further down the line as well.
And that was it. Thank you guys.